Anything else before we start?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, and you think the
Ready?
Earth is a globe? Yeah, go
I
for
do
it.
think it is, but I don't know anything.
All right, there you go.
All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the I'm Gonna Be Real podcast. We have a flat Earth expert on today. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, we've had a odd collective group of people. We've had Sasquatches or Squatchers, Watchers, or that's a mouthful. We've had authors, drug smugglers, a little bit of everything. So we're learning quite a bit.
But now you're jumping off a cliff and having a flat earther on. Why are you going to ruin the reputation of your podcast by having a guy that thinks the Earth is flat on?
I don't know. Like I've read about it and I've seen it, and I'd like to hear your side. I have a very basic high school education of it, and I'd like to see if I can point out, little things that are wrong with your view, or maybe you might blow my mind and everything I know is wrong, which I think that could be.
Well, you okay?
Wow. Yeah,
you're back.
Good.
So,
yep.
So we're going to go over some basic stuff. And then anytime you want to jump in with a question, I love any questions, especially the hard ones. So there's one thing, you said before the show, I said, do you believe the Earth is a globe? And you said, I think it's a globe, but I don't know anything. That's a good answer because you don't know anything. Globers think they know their model, but they don't. And they think they know the flat Earth model, but they have a false idea. For example, they mix the two models. They mix a flat Earth disk floating in space with a heliocentric solar system. Both of those models are wrong. So you're mixing two models, you're having a false binary. You could pick this wrong one or this wrong one. Mix them together. Is that, and the flat Earth looks absolutely ridiculous. Then you take it, if you watch any news, anytime they do something on flat Earth, they show this disk, this turn up floating in space to reinforce the idea. Oh, I've Googled flat Earth. I ended up at the Flat Earth Society. Those guys are friggin' crazy. And yeah, they are. We have nothing to do with them. They're a government-run disinformation site. So switching over to the heliocentric system, that's the globe system. This is what you believe, right? You're on a rock surrounded by water on the outside of it, which is surrounded by air pressure adjacent to a void without a container. Okay. Scientifically impossible. Game's over right there. But people are like, well, it is because it is, you can't reproduce that in a lab. You can't reproduce that anywhere. You can't have high pressure next to low pressure. High pressure runs into low pressure. Okay.
High pressure of what though?
High pressure air, our air pressure. We have air. Air equalizes. If there was a room above you, which all the air was sucked out of, it's a vacuum, and there was a valve on the ceiling and you opened up that valve, what's going to happen? It's going to equalize instantly. It might even suck you through the hole. Okay. It's going to equalize instantly. And that's what air does. That's what gases do. They fill all available spaces, right? But then the globers say, well, gravity's holding it down. That's a whole nother, we'll get into that. But just finishing this. You're on the rock, surrounded by air, water, surrounded by air, adjacent to a vacuum. You're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. At the equator, you're spinning 1,000 miles an hour. So when you watch the sunset, the sun's not going down. You're falling off the back of a ball, falling backwards at faster than the speed of sound. Okay. You're orbiting the sun. You know how fast they tell you they're orbiting? Want to take a guess?
How fast?
66,600 miles an hour. Funny number. And we're chasing the sun at the same time at 500,000 miles an hour. And these are all curved trajectories. People go, well, I could drink a glass of water on an airplane and walk to the bathroom. I'm like, well, if you want to compare the airplane to the slowest motion of them, the spin, you have to double the speed of the airplane. You have to have the pilot nose down a mile a minute just to follow the curve, and you have to remove the outside of the airplane. Okay. Then it's a fair comparison.
So isn't it relative? So we're talking about circular motion, or like the angular speed that the Earth is moving. Like,
yeah. So you said, people say if you watch a clock, the hour hand on a clock, you'll be bored to death because you can't even see it moving, and that's moving twice as fast as the Earth. No, it's not. Okay, it goes around twice every 24 hours. But if you were on a merry-go-round with the horses and everything, and you're sitting on a horse and it rotated once per day, you'd probably kill yourself, right? You're sitting there, you'd slowly like, oh yeah, I see it moved a little bit, but you're barely going to notice it. Okay. But now expand that merry-go-round to 24 miles in circumference. Now you're moving a mile an hour. That's still a little boring. Go ahead. Go.
What I'm saying is that like angular motion is not the same as linear motion.
Correct.
So like running in a line going 10 miles an hour is different than the motion of the exterior of like a spear or a circle going 10 miles an hour.
Because it's changing when you're going in a straight line, that everything's moving. But as soon as it starts turning off that trajectory, that's acceleration. That force you feel is the same as acceleration. So the spin of the Earth, well, that's a curve. The orbit of the Earth, that's an ellipse curve, speeding up and slowing down. We're chasing the sun in its circular path, okay? None of them are straight motions. None of them are, okay? And the speeds are unfathomable. This is the hypersonic sled track. It's going to go by a Mach 8.6. Watch it. Can't even see it, okay? I encourage your listeners to look that up on YouTube. Hypersonic sled track. Watch the same video. And you hear it, it's shocking. Mach 8.6. You have to believe that we are traveling around the sun 10 times faster than that. We are chasing the sun at 100 times faster than that. Your brain can't conceive it. But when we go out into nature, we see this. This water has a container. It's the land that's higher than the water that goes all the way around the lake. Okay? It's a container. That container isn't moving. Okay? If you stomp your foot on the edge of that lake, a little vibration is going to send a ripple across that lake. You try moving that lake, right? Get a dinner plate of water and try to move. Fill a dinner plate of water in a car when going on a perfectly straight road at a set speed, okay? And then have that car speed up, slow down, or take the slightest turn. The water is going to slosh out of there. What is going on here? Okay. By finishing up with my merry-go-round, 24 miles around, you're moving a mile an hour. Now make it 24,000 miles around, like the Earth, they tell us it is. You're going 1,000 miles an hour on a curved trajectory. You're moving off your trajectory more than a mile a minute. Don't tell me you're not going to feel that. That's pseudoscience to believe that. That's religion.
You definitely are. So if the centrifugal motion of the Earth, assume it's a sphere or it's a globe, right? How does that water, what do they say keeps that water in place?
Gravity. Gravity. The theory of gravity, which has never been proven. And they recently switched it from Newtonian gravity to Einsteinian gravity. What? One of them is mass and the other one's the bending of space-time. You know, they show you the stretched out trampoline. They put a bowling ball on it and they roll a whole bunch of balls around it. Like, why is space-time bending that way and not that way or 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 any other way? Okay. It's all hypothetical pseudoscience nonsense to make your brain just short circuit and you give up. Oh, I got a guy in a bow tie who lies told me, you know, and you just start believing stuff. And then you're going to get you're a smart guy. Within moments, you're going to get to the why the hell would they lie and how can they keep a secret? Save that for the end. All right. Save that for the end. So what's this right here? What's this?
Looks like the distance from North.
No,
America.
not the. No, I'm sorry, not that. Just this white thing right here.
Oh, that looks like one of the poles, probably.
Antarctica. So the equator is if you're looking at the Earth upright with the north at the top and the south at the bottom, the equator is the 24,900 miles around. And as you go down, it gets smaller and smaller to where this circumference of this is between 10 and 13,000 miles. Makes sense, right? Because if the equator is all the way out here at this edge, that's 24,000 miles. Well, this can't be 24,000 miles, right? This is 10 or 11,000 miles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not how Antarctica is. And any photos, high altitude photos, which they say are from satellites. We'll get into that if you want. They're all cartoons. Antarctica is just cartoons. There's no photos from space or from high flying aircraft of all of Antarctica. There's none. Everywhere else in the world, except the very, very North Pole. So why is that? And it's because of this. This is how the world is set up. We live in a pond. What's a pond? Body of water contained by land. Lower the edge of a pond in one spot and the water is going to flow away. Well, this is Antarctica. Antarctica is the shoreline of our world. They tell us Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Highest land on Earth. That's interesting. Well, it would have to be. All of the continents, all the islands are surrounded by water, but all of the water has its container. Water needs lateral pressure. The container is Antarctica. This is Antarctica. And guess what? This pink line represents 60 degrees south, and nobody is allowed to independently explore beyond that line. And it's guarded by 7 military bases on islands all through here, South America, islands, Falkland Islands, and Australia. And anyone that crosses that boundary will be stopped by a warship or a drone or a jet fighter and turned around because they don't want you going out here. Okay? Fascinating, but right?
Isn't that a great amount of like land to patrol?
Well, they're not patrolling it. I mean, we have radar. There's also a mesh of buoys going all the way around. And guess what? Yeah, that is a great one. It is 60,000 miles. Okay, 60,000 miles to go all the way around. So if we look, this is the flat Earth map. We don't have an exact map, but this is the most accurate map, and I'll show you how it is accurate. And this is Antarctica. This is the shoreline of Antarctica. Okay. So if anyone tried to circumnavigate that, well, they'd have a problem. It's going to take longer. It's going to take a long time. Captain Cook did it. Took him 3.5 years. He tracked over 60,000 miles. How do you go 60,000 miles? How do you go 60,000 miles around something that's only 10 or 13,000 miles? Have you heard of the Antarctic sailboat race that goes around supposedly Antarctica?
No, I have not.
It's a race, and the globe believers, the globe zealots love to use this one. But this year they screwed up. They showed us. So the race goes, from here out to here, goes over some islands over here, and then it goes back. This leg of the race from Africa all the way around to Chile or wherever this is, Brazil, is 32,000 miles. The equator is only 24,000 miles. And then they have to go from here to here, which is it's a very long, this is long. It's misrepresented here. I mean, if we go back to the flat Earth map, I'll show you here. I'll try this.
What's the name of the race?
It's called, you know what? That's a good question. The Antarctic sailboat race. It just happened. I have videos. I'll show you where to get all the videos and stuff. And here's the thing. Anyone listening, and especially you, don't believe anything I say. I'm pointing to a whole bunch of doors in the Matrix that you were never shown. And now that you see those doors, you can go through them and investigate the stuff yourself. Okay? So, the trip, from here, they're going around, literally here. They went from over here behind my hand. That's Africa. They went around all the way around here, all the way around and over to Brazil here. That leg is 32,000 miles, right? Well, this line right here, it's hard to see, this little red line, that's the equator. That's 24,000 miles. Well, it only makes sense that they're out on a flat Earth. So just so you fully understand, there is no South Pole. They tell us there's a South Pole, but all compasses everywhere in the world point to the north. And in Antarctica, they're so far from the north that they don't work. Okay.
So, okay.
Go ahead.
So let me get this straight. The sailboat race that goes from Africa to the what side of the eastern side of South America?
Yeah, Brazil.
Yeah.
It goes and it continues all the way back. It goes all the way around.
Okay, it's 32,000 miles.
Just that leg. Just that leg. Now again, they're on the underside of the Earth where it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, until you get to the center. they shouldn't be going 24,000 miles, let alone one leg being 32,000 miles. They tell us there's so many things that they tell us that the earth is flat everywhere. And
so then, okay.
Good.
So it's one lap around the globe, essentially.
Well, it's supposed to be just a lap around Antarctica. It should be, because Antarctica is, let's say, 13,000 miles. They're a little far away. So let's call it 15, 17, 18,000 miles. No, it's over double that.
I guess proportionately saying, because I thought you said Antarctica was 64,000 miles, right?
No, 13,000 miles in circumference.
Okay, so around the border that is keeping us inside the world is how much, or how long is that border?
So the people that have done it, now you can't do it, 60,000 miles.
Okay.
Give or take, might be more. Could be 70, could be 80. We don't know.
Okay. And it's 30, because proportionately, I'm looking at the map, which it probably is a bad map, because you can't put whatever on a piece of paper and it be exact. But it looks like that leg of the race, which is 32,000 miles, is 32,000 miles, and it doesn't look big enough if the seawall is 60,000 miles.
Well, they didn't get that close to it. They're never that close to it. They're always farther away. So their lap, if they go underneath Australia here, they're like cutting around here, and then they come around here. Okay. And they're only going, so they're going from over here around here, okay, and back. That makes sense. That charts out. We don't want to stick on that, because we can do that for 2 hours. We have videos on it about circumnavigation. I'll show you where to get them all. So let's talk about circumnavigation. Here I have a magnet at the center. That's our North Pole. So I got my compass here, and the needle's pointing towards the north. Now I'm trying to push that compass west. I have to keep turning. So you have to keep turning, because that compass has to point to the north. West is a circle. That's how I can leave New York. I can head west, California, and end up back in New York. Now I'm going east, and east again is a circle. This is the same on a flat earth and a globe earth, especially in the north. It's bad for the globe in the south. Okay. Now, if I try to dead reckon west, which means I'm not going to correct to the north. So my compass is pointing west. Here I go. I'm heading south already. I'm heading south. South is every direction away from the center, because when your back is to the magnet, that's north, you're facing south, right? So here's the problem for flat earth. On a flat earth and a globe earth, we can circumnavigate east and west, no problem. It doesn't prove anything. But on a flat earth, you can't circumnavigate south, because if you go south, you're gone. You just go. You don't magically pop up over here. On a ball, you'd come up over here. Now I'm heading north, 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 and now I'm heading south. The compass just did a 180. I'm heading south. Every straight line is south, even if I point north, because as soon as I pass north, it's south. If I point west, it's south. If I point east, it's south. If I point south, it's south. Okay? Every straight line points towards Antarctica. Nobody has circumnavigated the world south. Now, they tried to fake it. They tried to do a few years ago. They said, oh, we're going to go for the world's record. We're going to travel. We're going to go south. We're going to go pole to pole. Okay, let's see it. North Pole, Alaska, California, Hawaii, out to these islands, up here, Santiago. Then they supposedly went to the South Pole. And then they said, well, the weather was too bad. They had to, instead of continuing, they turned around and went up through Brazil. We're like, oh, it's not going to happen. They went up to New York, and they went up and around. And we're like, well, they didn't do it. Point for flat earth. Guinness Book gave them the record for south-north circumnavigation, when in fact, this is all they did. They went here, boom, 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 touched the pole, went back, right? This is all they did. This is a lake. Here's the shoreline of the lake. And that's all they did. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
You could say interesting once in a while.
I'm curious, and I'm curious to know how it works with gravity and magnetism, and how compasses work with that, if we're talking like why do compasses point north if everything is south?
Well, no, I'm saying every straight line is south. The magnetic, some people believe there's a magnetic mountain, maybe called Mount Meru, in the north, and that's why compasses point there. There is something magnetic there. Okay, you know, the ball people will tell us that it's a molten magnetic core, a misnomer because you can't have molten magnetics, shooting up and around. Okay, I believe there's a magnetic torus field coming out of the center of our Earth, the North Pole, the center, and there's also crazy magnetics. There's multi-poles, magnetic points around the Earth. It's like a 4-leaf clover, and there's places. You know what magnetic declination is?
No, I have no clue.
Magnetic declination is if it's strong in the south, places in the south where it says, okay, if your compass points north, you have to move 10 degrees this way, and that's really north. So you have to look up your magnetic declination. There's some places along Antarctica where it says the magnetic declination is over 170 degrees. 170 degrees is behind you. So if your compass is pointing that way, you have to turn around and say, oh, no, it's this way because I got to change the magnetic declination. Something's wrong. Something is way, way wrong. So magnetics and gravity are two different things. So let's talk about what gravity is, okay? So the only two real forces in this world are magnetism and electricity. Electricity and magnetism, they go hand in hand, brother and sister, right? The sun and the moon, we'll get into that. They're the anode and cathode of our battery system. The land is a salt bridge, and the salt water carries the current. It's a giant free energy battery system that we're in, okay? So how does that affect gravity? So the Earth has a neutral or negative charge, okay? And it's not moving. The Earth doesn't move. The Earth is not rising like Flat Earth Society says. The Earth doesn't move. And everything in the air, the sky, is a positive charge. So when you lift up off the ground, you're surrounded in this positive field, and then your mass, your density, will sort things out. Buoyancy and density sort things out. If I had ball bearings, ping pong balls, and a helium balloon, I held them over a pool, open my hand, the balloon's going to go up because it's less dense than the air. The balls and the ball bearings and the ping pong balls will fall. The ping pong balls will stay on top of the water, and the ball bearings will go to the bottom. Buoyancy and density are sorting everything out. Down is down. Okay, so how can we prove this? How can we test that? Because, you know, I don't know how to test, you know, space-time, bending of space-time, and Newton's gravity was debunked. So how do we test it? So here's a test we can do. Here is this tinfoil chart, the tinfoil wing, and we put a negative charge into it, and we keep that negative charge in it, and it defies something. Gravity or the electrostatic charge of the Earth. It's defying it, okay? So let's look at another one. If we add a positive charge to something, so we have these balloons, they're holding up this wire, and at the end, we just have a little button on here. It's all taped together, and it's just neutrally buoyant above the floor. Okay, it's found its own equilibrium. This wire goes to a Van der Graaf generator, which can create a charge. So we're adding a positive charge to it. It just has a stronger positive charge. Boom. It's more attracted to the Earth. Now we discharge it, and it goes back up. Did I just change its density? No. I changed its charge. Okay. So how, does that really prove anything? So here is where is it? This is MIT or something came up with a thing called a silent drone. This drone is silent because it has no moving parts. All it's doing is changing its electrostatic charge. Silent. Is it defying gravity? The electrostatic charge is 10 to the 20th power. That's a number that's not even fathomable. Stronger than the weak force of gravity. Let's pretend that gravity is real. If I drop something, I can prove to you there's an electrostatic force, but you want to believe that it's the fictional gravity force, which is much weaker, that made it go down? I'm sorry, it doesn't work. That's pseudoscience. That is brainwashing.
So then how can you do calculations? Are you excuse me, are you familiar with kinematics?
With what?
kinematics. It's the linear study of motion and like the study of motion in an object and how gravity affects it. Well, that's a factor of it, like how acceleration and stuff. And you can use, because gravity accelerates something. How is there a constant if it's based off of like a force, like an electrostatic force, which is changing?
It doesn't change. The Earth's force is the same. It stays the same. It doesn't change.
Okay, so what are you basing off of if objects like fall in like that? You're talking about like the charge of the object.
Yeah.
How does it fly?
Helium has a very low positive charge to it, and every element down the periodic table has a stronger and stronger and stronger positive charge. And the stronger the charge, the more it's attracted to Earth, the more dense it is. Okay. It's simply how it works. Gravity doesn't explain any of this. Here's the problem with gravity, right? If you have two planets or a planet and a moon, and they come towards each other, they're gonna affect each other, and they're gonna affect their path. Are you familiar with the three body problem?
No,
three body problem is they can model two bodies orbiting each other, and they can figure out where it's going to be forever. But you put three or more bodies together, and the entire thing goes into chaos mode, never repeating itself ever, and never being able to be predicted what it's going to do next by the world's best supercomputers. Okay, so we have a sun, right? A gas ball in a void, holding on to consecutive planets all the way out to Pluto. And those planets are holding on to moons. And when they line up and everything, nothing ever gets screwed up. The sun ignores all of the moons because the moons are closer to the planets and they neutralize the sun's gravity. Bullshit. Okay?
Well, okay.
The sun, hold on. The sun can hold on to the Earth, but the moon's gravity affects the tides.
Okay, so that's interesting that you bring that up. I was actually thinking about that. All the planets orbit around the sun because the sun is like the biggest mass, so to speak.
So you believe that you live on a rock surrounded by water,
if you do,
surrounded by air, adjacent to a void. Okay. And then you believe that once upon a time, and not you, I was you. So I'm not picking on you. Once upon a time, there was nothing. It exploded, became everything. Cool story, bro, but we'll go with it. And then all of the rocks started sticking together and creating gravity and pulling more and more rocks in. But all of the gases decided that they're going to stick together. Fuck the rocks. Okay. We're going to stick together and we're going to turn into bigger balls, and we're going to have so much gravity. We're going to turn into nuclear furnaces, and we're going to leave a void, a vacuum in between. So now we got burning balls of gas in a vacuum holding on to rocky planets that have gases on the outside of them. This is absolute not even unprovable, scientifically, physically impossible nonsense. But we've been brainwashed so long into believing this that we'll fight to the fucking death to preserve it.
So I agree with you there. I don't like, you brought that point up, and I didn't understand that. If we do assume the Earth is a globe, why do moons rotate around like the Earth? If there's a mass with a greater attractiveness like the sun, why don't the moons just turn into planets?
Because
and go out.
You are now mixing the heliocentric model with flat Earth. We don't even know what the moon is. We don't know how big it is. We don't know how far it is. But today, where are you located?
I'm located in Central Illinois.
Okay. Today, end of the day, which is after this podcast, go out. The moon will be in the sky. Forget all the brainwashing you had in an indoctrination camp and look at the moon and ask yourself how far away it is. If there's some clouds in the sky, ask yourself, how much farther than the clouds is it? And when you see the blue sky behind it, ask yourself, is that blue sky behind it, or is that somehow beaming through the blue sky? Okay. The moon is, we don't know what it is, but, I'd have to lean towards being plasma. Okay. And when you look at the craters during the day, you'll see that they're blue. Why are they blue? Are you seeing through it? Okay. And then tonight, Go look at them. The craters will be black. Why is that? Are you seeing through it? Right? The moon is here within the Earth system. It is not a ball of rocks, sandy, dusty, dirty ball, 238,000 miles away. This is the full moon. Now, go out on a full moon night in the middle of nowhere. You can read by it. You can drive without your lights on, cast a shadow on the ground. But NASA gives us this picture from 1 million miles away. Okay. Who forgot to turn the moon on? Right? It should be a full moon. The sun's behind the camera. Look, there's a full Earth. There should be a full moon. This is nonsense. Absolute and total nonsense. And there's a thing called the inverse square law of light. As light goes out, it expands. And every time you double the distance, it's a quarter of the brightness. It's like blowing up a balloon. The rubber gets thinner and thinner and thinner because it has to spread out and fill the whole space. Same thing with light. It gets dimmer and dimmer. For the moon to be the brightness that we see it here on Earth, when you're 100 miles from the moon, where the astronauts took that famous picture, it would have to be over 60 times brighter than we see the sun. You can't even imagine the sun twice as bright as it is. Okay. None of the numbers work. None of the science works. None of the sizes work. And once you understand these distances that they tell us things are, for example, you know how far the sun is? You must. You believe you live on a ball. You have to know this.
I have no clue.
You have no clue. I have a
basic understanding of it, and now
you have a basic belief system based on a bunch of nonsense that you were indoctrinated to believe by people that got A's by memorizing their indoctrination books, and they get to become the teachers. Your teachers weren't lying to you; they were just teaching you what they were taught. That's it. Okay, and that's it. So the sun is 93 million miles away. Well, how do we know that? Well, they assumed that Venus was the same size as Earth, and they measured its transiting the sun from two different locations and did some really good trigonometry and said it's 93 million miles away. Well, how the hell do they know Venus is the same size as Earth? I think Venus is the size of a yoga ball. Okay. You know those yoga balls you work out on? All right. Yeah. Okay. You can't prove me wrong and you can't prove them wrong. We can prove them wrong actually, because the sizes again don't work. So we're going to go over distances for a minute. I do this on every show, but this is a good one. Okay. If the sun was a mile over your head at noon, what would you see when you look up? Probably in your heliocentric model. A ball. You would just see the entire sky would be filled with the sun. Right? Yeah. The sun's a yoga ball. You're a fraction of a millimeter underneath that ball looking up at it. It's the whole sky. Then we move it away, 93 million miles away. It's the size of a coin held at arm's length. If I doubled the distance, how much smaller does it get?
I don't know.
Well, it went from the entire sky to the size of a coin. Is it not going to get any smaller? There's two answers. One, so small you can't see it, which is what I say, or half of that size. Let's go with half that size. We'll give the globe the option. What if we made it 8 times farther? Could you see it? You can't see it. Scientifically, it's angular size. That would be like, hey, look at this human hair a mile away. You can't see it. It's angular size is too small. Okay. So I can't move the sun 8 times as far, which is, by the way, is a light hour. You understand a light year, light hour? A light hour, the distance light travels in an hour, right? If the sun is 8 light minutes away, 93 million miles, 8 times as far is 64 minutes. We'll just call it a light hour, okay? Just for rounding terms. Light travels 1,186,000 miles a second. For an hour, you can make it to the sun 8 times farther away. You with me? You with me? It's not hard. Yeah. It's not hard, but we weren't taught to think this way. So since I can't move the sun, let's take something else that they tell us the size of and compare it to the sun. Well, they tell us the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, but it's also 400 times farther away. That's why they line up to be the same size and they eclipse each other, right? Cool story, bro. Okay. So they tell us Polaris, you know what Polaris is?
Yeah, the constellation.
Our North Star, Polaris, the one that never moves. Okay. They tell us it's 46 to 48 times bigger. Let's say 48 times bigger. So if I made it 48 times farther than the sun at a light hour, that would be 48 light hours, 2 light days. It's scientifically provable that we could not see it at 2 light days away because it's too small to see, ignoring the brightness issue. Okay. Do you know how far they tell us Polaris is?
No.
I'll give you A, B, or C. 2 light days, 2 light days, 2 light weeks, or 433 light years.
I would probably say 433 light years.
Right. Because
makes no sense if the sun would be the whole sky.
It's ridiculous. Okay. It's science. It's a simple brain can figure out, well, then we couldn't see it. If we can't see it, but we can see it, they're lying to us what it is, how far it is. We're lying to us about everything. Okay. So what the hell are stars? And the answer is, you got me, man. But this is a star. Our consumer optics have outgrown their lies. You can see this with your naked eye, but when you zoom in on it, is that a burning ball of gas 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times bigger than the sun, trillions of miles away? The closest star, not this one, this is way farther, according to them, is 25 trillion miles away. Do you know how big a trillion is?
Oh, it's a very long way.
How long is a trillion seconds? Just to give you scale of what 1 trillion is. 1 trillion seconds. How long? If you guess it within a day, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
A Bitcoin?
A Bitcoin.
How long is a trillion seconds?
How long is a trillion seconds if you guess it within a day?
I would say it's over a lifetime, so over 75 years. I'm not going to get a Bitcoin. I know that, but I would say over 75 years.
Well, anything over and under what? Between 75 and
it's got to be like 400 years probably.
Okay, between 75 and 400 years. That's a wide range.
Yeah.
Okay, very close. 31,000 years. Okay? A trillion seconds is 31,000 years. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. 31,000 frigging years is a trillion seconds. And the closest star is 25 trillion miles away. If you were going 100,000 miles an hour in a rocket ship through fake space, which you can't even imagine, it would take you 28,000 years to get to the closest star. And the other ones are magnitudes far. It's got no neighbors. Okay. This is bullshit. Am I allowed to swear on your podcast?
I might have to edit the F words out.
All right. Did I use the F word?
You did it.
I did. Wow. You know what happened? I went on TikTok and I went on my first, there's this globe, these Glober channels that having this debate and this guy was on and I figured, I'm just going to jump on and have some sparring. It got me a little fired up. So sorry for swearing. I won't swear anymore.
I saw you on
Professor Dave. Yeah. So yes. Good point. Good point. And it's actually, Professor Dave is a propped up, not a real professor. And he keeps backpedaling. He's like, well, I don't really know this stuff, but I hire people to give me the answers. It's like, it's all nonsense. His 2 million subs are fake. Google pushes him to the front because he mocks people and makes people like, oh, I'm not going to look at a flat earth. Professor Dave's going to make a mockery of me. He's not a real professor. He failed out of college and the whole thing is ridiculous. But I went on, it was supposed to be a moderated thing where I ask questions and he answers them and none of that happened. But that's Google. If you Google anything flat earth, you get all nonsense and you get that debate. But here's the thing about that debate. Anyone with a working brain watches that and goes, why is this scientist acting like that? He's just making faces, calling names and not answering questions when his feet are held to the fire. And what happens is I got probably since then over 1,000 emails, people going, I'm a globe believer. I don't believe in flat earth, but why did Professor Dave act like this? And then that gives me the opportunity to send them a playlist of videos. I'm like, here's why you act like this. And then if they watch those videos, they email me back going, holy cow, this flat earth thing is real, right? Yeah. The problem is they have to scare you. They have to shame you into not looking into it. Because if you look into it and get real information, you're going to be a flat earther. I mocked flat earthers. I banned people from my social media, from my podcast. You want me to look into flat earth? You are too dumb to even listen to my podcast. Okay. And then I was forced to look and I went in with a closed mind, not like you. I said, the earth is a globe. You're an idiot. And I'm going to prove the globe and disprove flat earth. And for 2 weeks, I tried to come up with one proof. I have 3 Bitcoin offer out there for anyone that can deliver one proof of the globe. One proof of the globe. Okay. And here's how you do it. Here's the, I'll give you the deal. This is my app. It's called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's your answer to Google censorship. Every day, there's a new video right here. Just watch the new video each day for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you think you have a globe proof, you hit the frequently asked questions button, the question mark right there, and up comes the frequently asked questions. Hey, what about eclipses? What about seasons? What about, meteors and asteroids? What about, what about gravity, right? And if you click what about gravity, up comes videos that they don't want you to see. These videos won't show up in your feed, right? But these are videos that'll teach you about the stuff that I'm talking about, and then you can go out and do your own experiments. It has tons of other resources in it, but here's just something, just so you get an idea. Flat Earth is not a fad. This is just the people near me that have the app. Okay, right? Here's worldwide, right? These people are awake and aware to the globe lie, right? Here, look at the UK. Look, there's people everywhere. These are flat earthers. They're everywhere. Where are you?
I'm in Central Illinois.
Central. So that's somewhere under this mess. Okay. There's lots of flat earthers in here. Right. And so the app allows you to contact them, send out group messages. Like I could send out a message to 500 kilometers I have it set to 423 people. Hey, I'm having a meetup at Rico's Bar and Grill Saturday, 2 p.m., 123 Main Street. And then like 100 people show up. And it's fantastic. All awake, aware, amazing people. So that's how you find all the information, right? And there's also tons of images. I just downloaded the app, so it's going to load for the first time. Explaining lots of the stuff. Like, do you believe we went to the moon in this thing? Look at this thing. Hold on, it's a little falling behind. Look at this. It's paper mache, tinfoil, curtain rods, duct tape. I mean, Scotch tape. They didn't even use duct tape. Okay. This went to the moon. This is holding in the pressure. Okay. It's so stupid. Once you see it, here's the thing. I say that, couples together, if one of them's a glober, one of them's a flat earther, it doesn't work. But the flat earther has a great chance of showing the person the truth. The glober has no chance of bringing them back. Nobody goes from flat earth to globe earth unless they're, unless we had one guy did it, but he was broke and he's now making money, saying stupid stuff when he was the guy that was bringing forth unbelievable, proofs of the flat earth. In here in the app, if you hit the web button and you scroll down to the bottom right here, this is a flat earth experiments. We've done all the experiments for you. We've documented them. Go watch them. Lasers going across lakes, microwave experiments that need line of sight that go 300 miles. A submarine can see another submarine at the bottom of the ocean 100 miles away. Well, that sonar would have to climb over a mountain of curve over a mile high, go down the other side, hit the submarine, come back over the mountain and get back to the sonar. That's not how sonar works, but it does. So what's going on? Earth is flat. There is no curvature. You can't have high pressure next to low pressure. We can see too far. What about boats over the horizon? Right? Boats over the horizon. That's a good one. Right? So when we look into the distance, if you go out and there's a nice cumulus cloud day, the clouds are all sitting kind of on a deck, on a layer. You notice that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the ones over your head, 5,000, 10,000 feet in the air, whatever they are. And then you look 20, 30 miles away and the clouds are touching the horizon. Why are they touching the horizon?
Because they
perspective. They're not going over the curve. It's just perspective. So the sky gets closer and closer to the ground. Like in Las Vegas, in the Bellagio, you go to one end of the hallway, the lights are touching the floor on the other end of the hallway. Okay. Because it's just perspective. It's how our eyes work. Okay. They're not really touching the floor. So the sky comes together. And so out here, there's no boat, right? So we're zooming in. The horizon's in between my hands. And as I zoom in, I'm increasing my angular size. And all of a sudden, look, there's a boat. Where did the boat come from? So I'm going to zoom out, and these little waves in the surface are going to block, like my finger is going to block out this boat, right? These little waves in the surface make the boat disappear from the bottom up. There's waves in the foreground. The boat's gone. It's not over a curve. I just proved it. I didn't zoom over a curve. On a ball, you have a physical horizon, okay? On a ball, if my fingernail was a boat, it disappears behind the horizon. Zooming in doesn't bring it back because you have a physical horizon, something that's hiding it. Go ahead.
So if it goes so far, it goes under the curve. But if you're a certain distance away, wouldn't it technically be slightly over almost, or like?
There is no curve. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. It's an optical thing. Here, watch this. So I have a matchbox at the end of the table, and you can't see it. But as I zoom in, increasing its angular size, oh, there it is. It's right there. But when I zoom out, it merges into the horizon because you can't see it. And imagine if I put a couple pencils on the table to represent waves. The whole matchbox would be gone, okay? Or most of it would be gone, right? And you can't see it because everything merges together. When you're sitting next to a tree line, the tree line's way over your head. But if it went 2 miles away, the top of the tree line are now at your eye level. Is it really at your eye level? Did those 150-foot trees become eye level? It's all perspective. And then if something goes beyond that tree line, it sets. It sets. Let me show you. Let me show you how the sunset works. All right. Sunsets. And by the way, do you have any friends?
Yeah.
How many friends do you have?
Oh, a ton. I can't
all right.
count like.
All right. So when you start telling them that the earth is flat, when we're done, you're going to lose some, just let you know. Warning you. You might not want to tell them right away. Okay. So here we go. So I want to show you something. All right. So this line is level. Earlier in the video, I showed that it's level. I'm moving the sun across the line, and we're viewing it from the height of the line. So if this is the path of the sun, we're viewing it from a celestial point of view. This here can be buildings, mountains, or just the cloud deck. And I never go below it, and it's opaque. So now I have a camera, a terrestrial-based camera on the counter on the other end, watching that go away. And when I look from that view, look at this line. If I said at the beginning, is this line level? You'd say, no, it's sloping down at about 45 degrees. And I'd say, is this sun going behind this eye level obstruction? And you'd be like, yeah, it is eye level, but yeah, and it's going behind it. It's going below it. And now I zoom in, look at this. Is this level? It is level. And is this going below it? No, it's not. And this is at your eye level. So here's a real sunset versus my sunset. Look what the sun's doing. It's going behind the atmospheric deck of opacity. It's just going beyond it, just like this is going beyond it. But your programming tells you it's going over a sphere, which is scientifically impossible.
So you talk about the atmosphere. What exactly does that look like if it's the flat earth? What does the flat earth atmosphere look like if you have in the globe atmosphere, or what they say there's different levels of it, like different levels of ozone and where there's certain gases and stuff.
Are you talking about the globe, the atmosphere in the uncontained system adjacent to a vacuum, which is scientifically impossible? Is that the atmosphere you're talking about? Because that is what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
You're talking about Narnia. Okay. Narnia, it doesn't exist. It's impossible. So what does it look like, the flat earth? We believe there's some sort of containment over us. I don't know if it's energetic, if it's frozen, if it's glass, who knows what it is, because we're not allowed to go up there. Whistleblowers say that it becomes plasma, it becomes thicker, and then it becomes solid. And I don't know what it is, right? It might be ice. There's a lot of evidence that it could be a form of ice called sky ice. All right. So you can't have atmosphere on the outside of a ball. I don't know. I can't make up excuses for you, but you can have atmospheres inside a contained system. And, you know, if you have a tank of, you use propane for your grill. You have a grill? Use a propane tank?
Yep.
So if it's half full, the bottom half is liquid and the top, it gets thinner and thinner. And it's a gradient. So you have heavier gas at the bottom, gas at the top. Now, if I told you to go pick up some propane, but don't use the tank, just bring the propane home, could you do it?
No.
No tank.
No.
Okay.
Can't.
So no tank is equivalent to the globe floating in a vacuum. The flat earth is equivalent to the propane tank with the propane in it. Okay. It all matches. So here I have my drone up at a high altitude. It's below freezing, super clear day. And the sun was up here. And in 5 minutes time, it went down, down, down. Now, if we're still spinning, it should never stop. It should just go all the way down. But let me play this. It went down, 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 and then it stopped. Now, my friends were at the beach over here. The sun's already gone. They saw it set from the bottom up. I'm watching it, and it's not going down. This took 10 minutes. This is sped up. It went from up here to here, and then it sat here for 10 minutes. And as it went away, it took its light with it, and it faded away. Okay? So, you with me?
Yeah, I am. I'm perplexed. I'm trying to justify
you're grasping at something to hold on to your ball because I've stolen your ball from you. You're a child. We're all children. We all have the same thing. And I'm ripping the foundation out from underneath you. The good thing is there was no foundation under you. You have no foundation if you live on a spinning ball, corkscrewing through an infinite fake space. Now you have a foundation below you. We're going to get into what this place is and why it matters in a moment. You with me?
Yeah, I'm perplexed and interested.
Have you seen this picture from the new James Webb telescope?
Yeah, it's a wonderful slice of what, salami or pepperoni?
Right. So you've seen it. Very good. Very good. That was so well publicized that no one's going to fall for it.
Yeah.
Right.
It was hilarious.
Yes, hysterical. But that shows you they're basically mocking us. Like they're all of that stuff is absolutely fake, right? Do you believe that the James Webb has real images?
I think it does. And then like part of me. So you
what about this one? Is this a good one? You don't think that they could make that in Photoshop?
I bet they could. Some of the stuff like the Windows backgrounds and stuff like that done in Photoshop is pretty impressive what you can do now.
So we've taken their images and look up the metadata, and it shows that they're made in Photoshop. Exactly. Took them like 5 days to make them. But the image you're looking at right now is mine. I made it. Right? I made this one too. And it took me minutes. I did this one on the iPhone. Right? This is what they want us to believe is real. Okay? And when we look at the metadata, it's made in Photoshop. Right? Here's one of our TikTokers, Jenny, and she made it in Canva. Just boom, 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 quickly, bam, and then puts it out there. And the Globers will argue with her all day that it's real. And then she'll show them that it's not, right? Hubble, James Webb, Jenny.
And it goes kind of with the times of technology.
They're so stupid. I mean, how they do these things. It's so ridiculous. I had one I wanted to show you, which was I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was a sunset. I don't remember what it was. It was a good one though. Oh, well, all right, good. What else? What other questions you have?
So why if the globe, which I'm gonna have to look more into this. I don't think there's limited amount of time, but why would you lie about the globe being a globe if it's flat?
Do you believe that governments are here for our greater good or for their own good?
No, I don't. So I've actually gone into this with different podcasts, and like we had one guy on, we actually talked about it. He writes books, and the CIA killed JFK or assassinated JFK.
Mm-hmm.
I think governments might have a little too much power, and I think they do a lot of shady stuff, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there when it comes to that.
You're on the right path. All right. So governments have put themselves on top of man, and now they're trying to put themselves on top of the creator. Whether you believe in a creator or not, well, it kind of does matter. But once you understand that this world is not from a big bang, it's intelligently designed, then you understand that we are at the center of creation. We're not spinning out of control, flying through an infinite space vacuum. Okay. We're not, we didn't evolve from monkeys, right? Why are monkeys still here? And we're at the center of creation. What does that mean? That means that all the stuff that they're telling us, the fear that they put out on the news, is to control us. It's to keep us in fear, to make us feel insignificant, to make us not realize that our thoughts create our reality. Okay. So our thoughts create our reality. They don't want us to know that. They don't want us to know that nobody has control over us. It's all in your imagination. The only control anyone has over you is in your imagination. Okay. They don't want you to know that they're hiding resources. Guess what? What if you had something the size of a roll of quarters that would heat your house for the rest of your life? Never have to replace it. And another roll of quarters that powered your house and your car for the rest of your life. How much would that free you up? Right? They don't want you to know that there's most likely more land, right? So if we're here, what's out here? What's out there? Why are they hiding it? Okay. Why are they hiding it? What if the world was set up like this? We live here. This is Antarctica. Out here, more land. What's another word for more?
Greater? I don't know.
Extra? Is that a good word?
Yeah.
Another word for land? Territory? Terra? Extra terra? If somebody lived out here and they came to visit us in here just thousands of miles away, not ridiculous trillions of miles, what might we consider them?
An extraterrestrial.
From where?
Outer space.
The outer space. Very good. You're the first one that got it. Everyone goes, aliens. I'm like, no. Extraterrestrials from outer space. They're telling us. What if the world was set up a little bigger, like this? And there's another sun circling out here and another sun circling out here. What if these are all more advanced lands? What if the world had more than one pond? What if we lived here on this pond and 20, 30,000 miles away was another pond and another pond and another pond, another pond, another pond, another pond, all these other worlds? Scientifically possible. Outer space, distant planets and burning balls in a void, scientifically impossible.
Yeah.
Disclosure is here. It's thousands of miles away, not light weeks and minutes and hours and ridiculous, impossible, nonsensical distances. Disclosure is here. Why are the largest telescopes in the world all in the outer southern lands looking south, away from the center? Why aren't they looking up? Why are they all looking out, away from the center? What are they doing? Why aren't we allowed there? Why do presidents and very, high people high up in the government go to Antarctica at the weirdest times? Why is no one allowed to fly over Antarctica? Why is no one allowed to explore Antarctica? Why does NASA own all the helium companies in the world.
It's just, I don't know. It's strange to me. It's perplexing.
In the app, if you really want to lose your childhood, hit the web button, scroll down. Rockets are balloons. Bring some tissues. Okay. Watch those videos. And then you'll know all the space programs are complete, total nonsense. Nobody has been in outer space because outer space doesn't exist. What about the Challenger astronauts? Do you know that 6 of the 7 are still alive working in universities?
They are?
Yeah.
I thought they all passed away in the
You thought that because who told you that? Whoops.
The news, I guess.
The news that's steering your mind north, east, west, south. Okay. So hold on. You know, I got it. Where is my shuttle? Shuttle. I was looking on here. Shuttle. There it is. Challenger crew. They all happen to have identical twins that have the same name, that work for universities. None of the twins showed up at any of their funerals. Isn't that weird? Don't you think your twin should show up at your funeral and maybe make a speech? None of them did.
So they all had twins.
According to these people, when they've been discovered, they're like, no, I'm the twin. Yeah, NASA loves twins. They never told us about that they had twins. And they have twins with the same name. And none of them showed up at the funerals of their siblings. Does the BS detector go up? The antenna like, hello, something's going on. The lie is so big that ego has a hard time dealing with it because you've been fooled your entire life. The good news is after you stop crying that your ball was taken away, this is a much more amazing place. A much, much more amazing place. All right. And once you see that, the quality of people that you'll meet through Flat Earth is amazing. If you go to the web button, have you looked into the mud floods at all?
No, I have not.
Mud floods Tataria. Bring food and water if you click that button. If you go over to past the book section to the homeschool section, right here. Every week there's a new video on here, 20, 30 minutes. It'll blow you away. John Levy. And you'll never look at the world the same again, and you'll never run out of questions about the world. Great homeschool stuff here. Crow 777 Radio, best podcast on the plain Earth. Kids' books, all sorts of stuff. So again, anyone listening to me, come claim your 3 Bitcoins, 1 globe proof, but you got to watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. The app is $3. Okay. There's a subscription, which you don't need to do. It's $11 a year if you want to be able to message other people, view profiles, use it as a dating app, as a job app, whatever you want. Those things are additional. I had the app for years without those extra features, and it was $3. Everyone loved the app. I added those things. You have to pay extra for them. It's $11 a year. You basically bought me a margarita and you forgot to tip the bartender. Okay. But you don't have to subscribe. Just get the app, and I just want you to learn that what the flat Earth is. Questions? And everything can be found at flatearthdave.com. All my links, my YouTube channel, DITRH, right here, deep inside the rabbit hole. All short videos that'll blow your mind. That's also my what's it called? I just spaced out. I was just talking about it. I'm having a mental blank. My TikTok. See, I spaced out. Short circuit. TikTok. 2 great TikTok channels right here. Check those out. Here are my interviews. This interview will be right here. When you click that, up come this list has over 600 in it now, I think. Interviews like this, all sorts of stuff. Okay. This will keep you busy forever. Forever. My sun fade out videos are here. Okay. This is a great list. Full length videos. Turn off Netflix. And when you're, hey, let's watch a movie, watch one of these movies. These movies are amazing. If you go, the first one is A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth. 21 questions, all answered in 3, 4, 5 minute clips. This one, The Next Level, a real movie that's done real style. I happen to be in it. That's not why I'm telling you to watch it. It'll blow your mind. The next one is Military Whistleblowers. Okay, the first level goes on and on. This list will blow your mind. It'll blow your mind.
I'm blown away with what I've seen today, and I've been kind of quiet because I'm processing it.
That's good.
I'm trying to think.
Can I give you can I close you? Can I close you out?
Yes, you can.
Can I give you the game closer, which is going to just ruin everything for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would agree that if this is the bottom of the globe, right? This is the top of the globe. The equator's here. The top half is the north. The bottom half is the south. If I picked any combination of any two airports in the north, both above the equator, any combination anywhere, and you had an airplane, would you ever need to fly below the equator? Think about it. Is there any circumstance where you'd have to go below the equator to get to your destination? You always want to take the shortest route, of course.
No, not necessarily. No,
and no plane ever does. All northern flights to other northern locations, no matter what the combination is, never cross the equator. So now let's take it to the south. If you want to go from a southern location to another southern location, wouldn't the rule be the same? Never would you need to go above the equator, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this right here, if I could pull it up. From Santiago to Johannesburg goes all the way up to Senegal, all the way up here across the equator. But if you look at it on a flat earth, it's a straight line. That blue line is the equator. Kind of makes sense on a flat earth, right? Let's look at another.
Is it a connecting line? Or
what's
is
that?
It a
connecting flight? Well, all of these people want to end up over here. Why didn't they just fly over here? This is almost the same length all the way up there. The Globers will say, well, it's a connecting flight, right? So here's another one. It goes all the way up to Los Angeles. Why the hell does it go to Los Angeles, right? They want to go to Peru, right? But if you look at it, it's a straight line.
So I see your point there. But wouldn't it be for fuel reasons?
Fuel, they're going long, that first leg of the trip here. This leg of the trip to Los Angeles is about the same as Peru. So they're almost doubling the length of the trip. But if you look at it here, it's a straight line. Okay. I hear you. I hear your argument, but I'm going to go crush your argument. It kind of trapped you into it. Okay. Occasionally on an airplane, there's an emergency. Someone has a baby. Someone's having a heart attack, especially now. Lots of heart attacks happening. Okay. Okay. We don't have to get into that. So they need to do an emergency landing. So this is a flight from New York to Hawaii. And right about here, emergency. They flew like 1,000 miles out of the way to Seattle. And they got there in 10 minutes. How the hell does that happen? Oh, look, New York, emergency, land, Seattle, right on the line. Let's look at another one. Okay. This one went all the way to friggin' Moscow, 1,500 miles more, maybe, away. Oh, look, Moscow is right on the straight line between the two. Okay. How about this one? Dallas to Beijing, way the heck out of the way to Calgary. Look, another coincidence. And how the heck did they get to Calgary in a really short period of time? Why didn't they just land up here? Where's that? Washington or California, wherever, Oregon. They went all the way up to Calgary. Why? Calgary's right there on that flight path. Okay. Now, don't believe me. These are just memes. You were taught memes in school, right? You were taught, they showed you a meme of the center of the earth, and that's all nonsense. Don't believe it. Go verify it. You can't go verify the center of the earth one, but you can verify it this here. Eddie Flat Earth Banjo, he calls himself, wrote this book. You can buy it on lulu.com, 16 emergency landings at flat earth. It's listed in the app, or you just go online, Google it, and there's a PDF version. You can just read it online. You don't need the book. I like books because who knows what's going to happen with the internet and censorship. Read this, understand it. He has all of the newspaper articles, the flight plans, the times, everything that happened. They absolutely 100% prove we don't live on a globe.
I don't know what to say.
Here's what you say. You've pointed out a lot of things to me. I think the earth might be flat, but I got to go confirm everything for myself. Okay.
Well,
we've done the work. We've made it easy for you. And the number of people, you look, if the flat earth has been around, it's been around forever, by the way. They were teaching flat earth here in the 1900s, right? In public schools here in the 1900s. Watch the second video on that full length videos button I showed you. The one that I'm in called The Next Level. And I interviewed a woman named Ruth, 102 years old. And she said she was taught flat earth in elementary school here in Hamden, Connecticut. And we found out that they were teaching flat earth even later than that here. Okay. And once you understand that the lie is very recent, the whole story of Aristophanes and his sticks and shadows in Greece, made up story, made up person. Galileo, made up person, in my opinion. If you're wondering what that is, every time you see that, that means somebody else just downloaded the app.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Yeah, well, it's happening a lot because people are waking up. And here's the thing. Right now, there's a little tyranny going on in this world, right? In the app, there's a book section, and one of the books is called the Iron Republic, right? And it's a story of people here. A guy here in the late 1800s sold everything, was a politician, went to Antarctica and found an opening, and then went through this opening and then was lost at sea for a couple of months, and they found land and found a city, advanced people, stayed there for years, got married, and his wife ended up dying. He ended up coming back, and he told the story, of flat screens, advanced society, floating cars, electric this, all the stuff. In 1901, this was written. Okay. Well, how do you know about all of that? And then it rings true to me, but even if it wasn't true, why are they talking about more land beyond Antarctica? Okay. Everything is a lie, right? So once you understand that, and once you see, and once you let your ego go and realize you're going to get criticism from people that haven't looked, the people that are going to shoot you down, your friends, your family, your loved ones, they have no idea how fast the earth is spinning, orbiting, chasing the sun. They have no idea of the second law of thermodynamics, that you can't have high pressure next to low pressure. They have no idea that gravity is just a theory. They have no idea what 1 trillion seconds is. They have no idea about the inverse square law of light or the angular resolution limits of their eyes. They have no idea how perspective works. They have no idea about anything, but they think they know more than other people that have been researching this day and night for years on years on years. Okay. And they also don't know their own model, because if they did, they'd be flat earthers. A rock surrounded by water, surrounded by air, adjacent to a vacuum, ignoring the 3-body problem, flying, repeating itself. Wait, some scientist, I forget the scientist, the physicist said the idea that the sun is 400 times bigger and 400 times farther than the sun is so minuscule that they're the same size that you can't fathom it. And the idea that they'd line up for a perfect eclipse, the number is so big that you can't, it makes no sense. Well, that's weird, because it keeps happening again and again and again. Every year there's eclipses somewhere in the world. Okay. And every 18 years, check this out. Every 18 years, the entire cycle of eclipses repeats itself like a fine clock.
So it's periodical, like you can.
It's a clock. The sky is a perfect clock. You see this outer line right here? That's the Tropic of Capricorn. The inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. So I'm going to move the sun out to December. So in December, it's out over the Tropic of Capricorn, and it's summer in Australia. You know why? Because the sun is close to them. It's high in the sky. If you're standing under a street light, that's your summer sun. But the street light down the road, that's your winter sun. It's farther away. It's lower. If you and I were here in Connecticut in the middle of winter, sitting outside in the snow, and we're 20 feet apart, and someone's holding a heat lamp 10 feet above your head. Okay? 10 feet above your head. You're going to feel that heat. You're going to take off your coat. I'm freezing. I'm going to say, where is it? You go, it's right there. And I would have like, oh, look, no, it's over there. It's not up above me. It's over there. If that person walked over to me, it's going to come higher and higher and higher. And you're going to watch it get lower and lower and lower. So December, January, February, March, April, May, June. In June, the sun moves over to the Tropic of Cancer. And the inner north gets its summer because the sun came closer, higher in the sky, right? It's not the tilt of the earth, they tell us, right? Because if it was the tilt of the earth, at sunrise, it would be freezing because that's the most tilted the sun could be, right? But in June, when the sun rises, I can get a tan immediately. I can feel the heat. It's hot. Right when it's not literally sitting on the horizon, the heat, I can get vitamin D. But in the winter, in December, here in Connecticut, at solar noon, when the sun is at its highest point for the day, I can look at the sun. I can't even feel the heat on my face. And in the helio-nonsensical model, they tell us in December, the sun is 3.5 million miles closer to the earth. 3.5 million miles closer. I could look at the sun, not feel the heat. But in June, when it's 3.5 million miles closer and the sun is all the way on the horizon, I can feel the heat. Okay? Wrap your mind around that because they didn't teach you to think about this stuff.
It's very perplexing to me. And when we're done here, I'm going to make a list of questions. And I'm going to research a lot, probably hours.
You're going to research days, my friend, days. You're not going to be able to stop once you start looking. But you're going to research your questions, hit the question mark, and every question you're going to ask is answered in here already. Right? If it's not, reach out to me, and I'll shoot you the answer. Right? But this is the gist of your questions. And when you start watching these videos, right? One of my favorites is Ships Over the Horizon. If you do Ships Over the Horizon, there's tons of examples, right? But one of the best ones is this fourth one down right here called the Mirror Line Horizon Empty Thea Princess. This girl filmed this ship going away and broke it down for you, graphics and everything. 11 minutes, a lifetime of education. You weren't taught this in a college course. 11 minutes, you're going to be smarter than a college course on perspective and angular sizes. It's all in there in 11 minutes, right? Try to Google this. You're not going to find it. Not going to find it. But it's here, right? And make sure if you get the app that every day you watch the featured video. Just watch the featured video. Why is that? It's so behind. Watch the featured video. It's something on my end. Something's running slow. See?
Well,
flatearthdave.com. That's where you can find all my links. Everything is there. The crash course is there if you don't want to buy the app. Get the app. My interviews are there. There's a link to my Flat Earth app channel, which has tons of other videos on there. There's tons of free stuff. Or get the app, $3.
Dave, I appreciate you coming on. What you have taught me is blown my mind, and I think I might have to go get another education.
Well, the one you got before, I'm sorry. You know what? Don't feel bad. I took 4 years of astronomy in college, and I was really good at it. I laughed at astrology. I'm like, how can the retrograde motion of Mars 25 million miles away affect anybody? It can't even affect the tides, right? And then I realized, wow, cosmology is off, according to Michio Kaku, by 10 to the 120th power. That's how far it's off. Normally, if they're off by 2 or 10, a factor of 2 or 10, they throw out the model. 10 to the 120th power. That's ridiculous. Okay. Trillion has 12 zeros. Okay. It's so stupid. And they're telling us how wrong it is. Right. And once you understand what this place isn't, before I say, once you understand what this place is, your life changes. So that's true. But once you that's a big step. But once you easily, scientifically, provably understand that we're not a rock surrounded by water, surrounded by air, adjacent to a vacuum, flying through infinite space, repeating the same thing all the time. North Star never moves. You know about the Georgia Guidestones, right?
No.
You don't know about the Georgia Guidestones? Come on.
Listen, I don't care about the Earth and the circle. I've just been taught that in elementary school. And
yeah. So they taught you. I mean, and again, it's programming. Sesame Street, astronauts are on Sesame Street. I mean, it's all mind control, because if you're spinning out of control, lost in space, then you'll never really reach your full potential. And so that's why they don't want you to reach your full potential. You know, the bankers, the Rockefellers, they're the ones that give us our textbooks. And they don't teach you to be bankers. They teach you to be good banking customers, because they make the money. It's nonsense. It's fake. We need to get off their monopoly money. And when I mean monopoly money, I mean they're using monopoly money. I mean, money is it's the same color as monopoly money. You know that, right? It's backed by nothing.
Not the gold standard. It was taken off that by Nixon.
There is no gold standard. That's absolutely ridiculous.
It was.
So
I am fascinated, baffled, confused, a little bit of everything.
Good
so thank
for
you, Dave, coming on the podcast. Thanks for blowing my mind and my listeners' minds as well. Visit flatearthdave.com. And that was another episode of the Imma Be Real podcast. Thank you guys for listening. And that's going to be it. Adios and goodbye.
Where is the curvature? Where? No curvature.